Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the webinar, Supercharge Your Website, How to Turn More Traffic into Leads or Sales. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to see the chat live, sharing with us where you're from. Let's make this session as interactive as possible. Please share with us where you are from, and if you can also do a land acknowledgement, that would be very appreciated. So yeah, there's a photo of me. I'm the outreach officer at WeBC, and we are so excited because we have recently undergone a rebrand. So over the last 26 years, we have supported thousands of women with business loans, training, advisory services, and mentoring. So what's different? We have a new name and a new visual identity to refresh our look. And we also have a new website that makes it even easier to find the support you need for your business. And I invite you to check it out. It's we-bc.ca. To celebrate our rebrand, we've launched the hashtag WeShopBC virtual pop-up shop. It's an online listing of over 450 women-owned businesses around the province that you can connect with for your holiday shopping and beyond. This site is live right now until January 3rd, and there's still time to apply and get your business listed. I'll follow up with the link for you in the follow-up email. I'd like to spend a moment and go over our core values because they are not changing. We are still here as an organization that's been around for 3 decades, and we provide support for your small business journey. So we provide financing to get you started, and we also can cover that operating capital to fuel your business growth. We offer more flexibility than traditional lenders because we take a holistic approach and provide loans based on business viability, not based on formulas. This means that we provide loans to a diverse range of women business-owned organizations, and provide you with the support you need to keep your business running. We have complementary training, we have mentoring, and we have business advising. And so I invite you to connect with all of these resources. For example, our mentoring programs, you can connect with a network of women entrepreneurs and experts from around BC, and they can support and inspire you. You can learn more about our services at our brand new website, which is we-bc.ca, and sign up for our e-blast and get notified of new programs that have a ton of great offerings coming up right after the holidays. So now on to today's session. What would you do with 1, 3, 5, or more leads per month? When your competition is a mere click away, it's more important than ever to ensure that your website delivers what your visitors need. Here are a couple questions for you. Does this sound familiar? Is your website getting a lot of traffic, but very little conversion, resulting in little or no sales leads? Are you a business owner spending budget on online advertising and SEO work, yet you're not seeing the results that you want? If you are a business, organization, or nonprofit that uses your website as a tool to generate leads or sales, then this session is for you. Today, we will delve into the fundamental elements that make up a successful website, including long-term strategies and a few tricks that you can implement the same day to improve your conversion. In this workshop today, you will learn common mistakes businesses make with their websites that turn off buyers, how businesses unknowingly exclude 66% of buyers on their website, what users need to see and feel before making a purchase decision, strategies, goal setting, and best practices for your website that convert, And finally, 3 tips that you can try right now to improve your conversion. Now, it's not me who's going to be sharing with you all of this amazing information. We are inviting an amazing panelist. Her name is Kris Trudeau. She is the founding owner, front-end developer, and graphic designer of her business, which is HPX Media. I'm so excited to invite her to this virtual stage with you all. I'm going to share with you her bio so you have an understanding of who is here to share all of this knowledge and expertise with you. So, with over 2 decades as a website and graphic designer, Kris has established one of the Comox Valley's premier website development agencies, HPX Media Inc. Currently, she is celebrating her 10-year anniversary. Kris's career has spanned the gamut, holding positions of senior level front-end developer, print designer, creative director, and project manager, before even adding business owner to that list. Throughout her career, one thing has remained consistent: working with small and medium-sized businesses. Through her work, Kris has developed a passion for small business, seeing the vital role they play in the fabric of our communities. It's Kris's passion to watch these businesses succeed and go beyond the bigger competition. And with the right branding, graphics, and marketing, a small business can look as good as or better than their competition. Named one of Vancouver Island's 20 under 40 in 2018, and Comox Valley's 40 over 40 in 2015, and a 5-time Reader's Choice winner for the best website designer, and 5 articles published with Small Business BC. Kris's skills, experience, and community involvement have not gone unnoticed. Each day, Kris's clients benefit from her 20+ years of experience in the industry, and she has helped many business owners grow their business in ways they never imagined. So it's my absolute pleasure to pass the microphone and the space to Kris. Thank you so much for being here, and I will leave it to you to take it away.
Thank you so much, Danielle. That was a very nice introduction. It felt very, very long. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm super excited to be here with all you lovely ladies today. As Danielle said, my name is Kris Trudeau. I own HPX Media, which is a website development agency in the Comox Valley here. And yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna jump in. But in case I forget later, I want to thank you all so much for coming, and I'm excited to spend this hour with all you lovely ladies and share with you some tips that hopefully you find helpful. So I'm going to dive right in here. I'm going to share my screen and see if I can walk and chew gum at the same time here. Okay. All right. So yeah, so today we're going to talk about supercharging your website so you can turn more of your existing traffic into leads or sales. And again, this really just repeats what Danielle was saying. I have 20 years of experience in the industry. I stopped counting at 20. I don't think 21 or 22 doesn't make that much difference. I'm experienced. Celebrating my 10-year anniversary with the business, HPX Media, which is really exciting. I've won a couple of awards, and yeah, 20 under 40 and 40 under 40. And unfortunately, there will be no more under 40 awards for me, as I turned 40 a couple of years ago. So, and they don't seem to have awards for people over 40, unfortunately. But awards aside, the one thing I do like to tell people about me is I do have that passion for community, and all of our communities, whether it's the Comox Valley or Vancouver, Toronto, Dallas, Texas, you know, so many of these communities, the fabric of them is made up of small businesses, and you see this in the hockey jerseys that are getting sponsored, the dance recitals and things like that. And the quality of our community is impacted so much by the success of small business. So when small businesses succeed, our communities succeed, and the world just becomes a far better place. So I really enjoy working with small businesses and helping them grow their business and giving them a brand and a website that's far above and beyond what they ever expected that they could have, and just watching them thrive with it. As Danielle mentioned, I own HPX Media. The bread and butter of what we do is website development, WordPress website development, e-commerce. We do website care plans as well for people who do not want to have anything to do with the technical maintenance of their websites. I also just recently started doing some DIY website development coaching for people who want to build their own website, but are interested in having, being able to chat with somebody about the different facets of development so they can make sure that what they're doing is going to be on track and knock it out of the park. We also do some copywriting and story brand development. Story brand we'll talk about in a little bit. And we do a few other things, SEO and some light social media work and graphic design and things like that. But the bulk of what we do is really the WordPress development. Okay, so what is a conversion? Does somebody want to pop in the chat what your definition of a conversion is? Yes. Turning from a visitor to a buyer, moving from a lead to a buyer. When somebody takes the action that you want. Yes, Vicky, that's pretty much spot on. A conversion is when a user comes to your website and they complete a task that you want them to complete. And so a conversion is really, it's different for everybody. It's probably the same for a lot of people, but you decide what that conversion is, what that task is. So for a lot of people, it can be downloading an ebook, or filling out a form, or filling out or picking up the phone and calling. Putting a product in the cart and checking out, like making a physical purchase. So whatever that action is that you want, that is what a conversion is for you. And you can have multiple conversions. So on my website, a conversion would be somebody filling out a form to reach out, or hitting the schedule button to schedule an appointment, or downloading my ebook. Now, before we dive in too far, I just want to chat about a little bit of terminology here, because these words, lead generation, conversions, they all get thrown around. And I want to just chat about that super quickly to make sure we're all on the same page. So conversions, as it pertains to a website anyway, is one of the two parts of lead generation. And lead generation, of course, is generating leads and or sales. So as it pertains to websites, there's two parts of lead generation. There's driving traffic to your website, because without the traffic you won't have any users, and then the second part is the conversion. So and I really wanted to be super clear about that conversion, the distinction between the two, because today I'm only talking about conversions, and driving traffic to your website is probably another 8-hour webinar all on its own. So I just want to be super clear that today we're going to chat about the traffic who is on your site already, and how can we tweak the site so you can convert more of those users into leads or sales. All right. So why do we need conversions? Isn't just getting people on my website good enough? Back in the day, we used to measure the success of websites by how many users hit it, how many hits the website got, and websites themselves and website metrics have sophisticated over the last 10 years. So So we no longer really measure. I mean, we do measure traffic. There's a lot of things that we can do to measure on your website, but just because you have traffic on the website doesn't necessarily mean that you are making any money from that. You having thousands of visitors on your site every month is great. But if none of them are converting, then they're not, you're not really compelling anybody to reach out. So having thousands of people coming to your site each month sounds really good, and yes, you're very popular. But popularity doesn't put money in the bank, unfortunately. So tracking those conversions, when you're getting these conversions, you know that people are coming to your website and they're wanting to work with you. They're finding something of value on your website. So and this is super important because your competition is just, they're just at your heels. Everybody, your competition is one back click away. Hit back, go to Google, next one down, bang, they're on your competition's website. So it's really important that when people are on your site, you have information there that they want, and when you have the information that they want, then they're going to be more inclined to pick up the phone or send that email. So when people hit the back button, there's no conversion, and it's a missed sale opportunity. All right. So before we dive into the tips, I wanted to chat about some common mistakes that website owners commonly make. So one of the first mistakes people make is driving traffic somewhere else other than their website. So, you probably have a Facebook profile, an Instagram profile, and you're always going to have posts that you want people to read and images you want people to look at. And absolutely there's a place for that, for sure. But when you have some of the bigger posts and like maybe a larger series of images, from an event or whatever, put that information on your website first, and then just put a teaser on Facebook or Instagram, to see the whole, to learn more, to see more, to see the rest of this, click here, go to our website. So there's a couple reasons that you want to do that. The first being that one of the ways to improve your page rank in search results is to increase your traffic. And so when you are keeping people on Facebook and on Instagram, you're really doing your website a disservice, because that traffic who's paying attention to you on Facebook and Instagram, they could be on your website and raising up your search results. So there's a bit of a lost opportunity there. And secondly is these platforms change over time. Facebook right now is not necessarily the place that you want to be putting your content if you are aiming at a younger demographic. So and then some of these, eventually they fade into non-existence as well, right? So if you've put a career's worth of information up on Facebook, and it just kind of goes the way of the dodo bird, you've lost a lot of content. So if you can put that on the website first and drive traffic to it, then that'll work out a little bit better for you in the long run. The I'm just starting out mistake. This is a huge mistake I see a lot of new business owners make. And so I'll have people give me a call and say, I just started a business, and I just need something simple. I'm just starting out, so I don't need anything fancy. It just has to be simple. And I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that a business owner and a website owner can make, because at the end of the day, if you've started a business, obviously you're providing a product or a service. The people who are buying that product or service, they don't care if you've been in business one day or if you've been in business for 10 years. All they care about is, can you solve the problem that they're having? And so if they come to your website and there's really not a lot of information there, it's kind of light, and it doesn't give them the information that they need, they're just going to hit that back button and go to your competition. So your website, I would argue, when you are starting a business, you really need to have a better website than everybody else. Because not only are you trying to attract new clients, new customers, you might also have to be doing some convincing of why people should be switching from somebody that they're already loyal to. So, you can't do that with a half-baked one pager and coming soon, content coming soon. So it's really super important. And I get it, because you're starting a business and budgets are super tight and everybody wants your money. The lawyer wants your money. Everybody wants your money. And but I would argue that but putting that into a well-planned website and marketing is money well spent. Another mistake that people make is assuming that users will call for more information. And I've had some clients over the years who didn't really put a lot of thought into what they were going to say on their website. They're like, oh, we don't need to go into details. The clients, people will call if they want more information. And I could tell that they were the type of person who were perfectly happy picking up the phone if they went to a website and didn't see what they want. They're happy to pick up the phone and chat. I am not one of those people. I'm one of those people that if you drive by the dealership and there's no prices on the car, like I'm not calling, and I'm not pulling over and getting out of my car and going into a dealership. No, I'm gonna have to talk to a salesperson. I pick on car salesmen. I apologize. And I'm sure they're all very lovely, but that stereotype is easy to work with. So if again, and we're going to talk about this, is going to be a recurring theme. When people come to your website, they have a problem and they're looking to solve it. And if you can't identify with them that you understand their problem and demonstrate to them that you can solve their problem, they're just going to hit that back button, except for that small percentage of people who might pick up the phone. But I would not be banking on everybody being that way. I see that there's some questions in the chat, and I'm not sure if I'm able to do both at the same time. So I think what I'll say is I'll hold the questions to the end if I could, and Danielle and Netta can serve those up to me. So and also too, if I don't get to your questions, there'll be a way to contact me after the fact as well. So I see them, and we'll definitely get to them. Okay, back into the mistakes. Cutting out 66% of your traffic is something that so many people do. There is 3 stages to the buying process when people are looking to buy something. And I don't think this necessarily applies to groceries and things like that, but for larger purchases, I would say. So the 3 stages are the research phase, the evaluation of providers, and then the final phase, which is the purchasing, which I would say is probably like a very small part of that process. And so you really want to make sure that your website has the information that people in every one of these phases is looking for. So if I am looking for, say, I'm looking for a new roof, and I go to a website, and this website says, yeah, we do roofs, call us for a quote. I might not be there. I might not be in that phase. If I need a roof, I'm probably going to do a little bit of research. Do I want the typical shingle style roof, or maybe I want a metal roof? And if you go to a website where they're only just talking about, yeah, we do roofs, pick up the phone, call, there's nothing on me for that website, so I'm just going to hit the back button. But if that website has, here are the 5 different types of roofs, like, yes, okay, now there's something there for me, and I can dive into that. So you really want to, and in addition to that, moving on to the next phase, now I've decided which roof I want. Is this website going to talk to me about how you do that, and are you going to build credibility with me? Am I going to come out of your website thinking, yeah, these guys, yeah, they know about roofs and they know how to do roofs. I'm feeling confident about this. Now I'm ready to buy. So be really, really cognizant of what people are thinking about in those different phases of the buying process, and make sure you've got information on your website for that. Know that with your website, you get out of it what you put in. So, and be so mindful of who you listen to and the information that you get, because there's so many people with uninformed uninformed comments. And I had somebody reach out to me who wanted some SEO work done, and his mind was blown by how expensive it was. And he's like, yeah, my friend just said, you know, they go in, they just like add some keywords and bloop, 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 like how much could that cost? And so you really have to, obviously there's nothing like that. So you have to be really mindful of the information that you're getting and who that's coming from. Everything you do needs to have a good strategy, or it could just be a waste of your time. The final mistake, and one of the biggest mistakes people make, is blindly driving traffic to your website and not making sure that you're getting conversions out of that first. So I see this quite often where somebody comes to me, they have a website and it's getting good traffic, but it's not converting. There's a lot of shopping cart abandonment, or you know, whatever, like lots of traffic, but nobody's filling out the form, nobody's downloading, you know, whatever there is there. And so a lot of business or website owners, they think logically, okay, well, obviously I need more traffic, so now I'm going to do SEO, or I'm going to pay for Google ads, Facebook ads, and then you can pour thousands and thousands of dollars a month into these types of things, and if you're not converting, like it can be really expensive. So it's really important that you do things like what we're doing here today, and take a look at your website to make sure that your website has what people need, because you can drive 1 million users to your traffic, or 1 million users to your website, but if there's nothing there for them, they're just going to hit the back button, and that's going to hurt your search engine results as well. So and yeah, just remember that Google and Facebook have no problem just charging your card every month, regardless of what kind of success that you're seeing. So they have no loyalty to you. So so if you're going to invest in that, like, make sure that your site is tight before you're starting to invest that kind of money. Okay. So today's tips there's going to be 2 types of tips. We're going to talk about some more foundational things to think of as your business and your website is growing, and then we'll get into some tips that you can take home and try today. Okay, so the tip number 1 is start with your end goals in mind, and this is something that is I think we often forget about in this, like, online is just so instant, like, oh, I want to do some social media work or whatever. You just dive into Facebook and you start doing it. But that rarely pays off, whether it's social media or website development. So you really want to start with your end goals in mind, and you really have to take a step back and kind of shift your paradigm, or and for a lot of people it takes a bit of really sitting down so sometimes it's good to just go out, get a coffee, sit down and just think about it. And so depending on where you are if you're building a site or you have a site, if you're building a site, putting some thought into what do you really want to get out of your website? If you're starting a business or if you knit mittens because that's what you do in your spare time, and now you got a lot of mittens and you want to sell them, you probably don't need a really complex website. But if you've started a business and this business, this is going to be your full-time job, it's going to be it's going to fund your retirement, you're going to sell it and then retire, then those are 2 very different types of websites, and you really need, there's a lot more pressure on the second one, obviously, to perform better. So if you're in that kind of a situation and you have employees and you need these sites to be generating sales, you really need to be setting goals like, okay, I need this website to generate X number of leads a month, because I'm relying on a certain amount of sales to be generated from this website. So and they don't just happen. So it's something that you have to be very clear about what your goals are, and then you can go back and figure out how to get there. But yeah, so again, you get out of it what you put into it. Tip number 2, this is an interesting thinking point. And it make the point of this is to make you realize how much one client can actually be worth to you. And this is a better demonstration if you have like a kind of higher value clients, but I like to use an accountant as a good example for this. When you think of an accountant, say the average client spends $1,000 a year, and they, on average, you have that client for 10 years. And so that value would be $10,000. And if you know that every client brings in a referral, then you can double that. So that client's lifetime value is $20,000. And so if you're getting, maybe 1 lead a month or 2 leads a month, you really, it puts in perspective, what you're investing in the website. All of a sudden, putting $5,000 into your website really doesn't seem like that big of an investment if you can get, double your leads every month and in the long run get more clients. On my website, I have a lifetime value client calculator. It's on the URL there, which you guys will get a copy of the slide, so don't feel like you have to write that horrible URL down. Tip number 3. So your website is essentially your hardest working employee that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're never going to eat your lunch. I always like to recommend that people think about their website as a salesperson. The website is acting on behalf of your business. So it makes sense to think of them that way. So if you think about a salesman, and again, I'm picking on the car salesman, if I pull up into the dealership and this guy comes out, he's wearing a suit, it doesn't fit very well, the buttons on his shirt are done up funny, and he's got a ketchup stain on his shirt, and he brings me into his office and it's disorganized and dusty, and I'm asking him about service plans, and he's telling me about this family owning the dealership for 3 generations, and like this guy would be a nightmare that you would fire before the day was over. So if your website is not the same level of professionalism as your business, and if it doesn't have all that information, it's really the same kind of situation, right? So you really want your website to be matching that professionalism of your business and the people that you would employ. So just another way to look at the value of what your website can really do for you. And that tip really segues nicely into this tip, which is your website is such a great opportunity for you to give your users your business experience. So even if you've never really sat and articulated it, I would imagine most people have a pretty good idea of how you want your customers, clients, people to feel when they interact with your business. So if somebody calls into the office or into the store, or they come into the store, you know how you want them to be treated. You know how you want them to feel when they walk out, and what they're going to say to their friends. So your website should be doing that same thing for you. The caliber of your website really needs to mirror the caliber of your business. So like you just can't hope to be selling expensive like Airbnb rentals. What is the vacation rentals? A high-end vacation rental with a clumsy website that doesn't work very well, right? So it's gotta match. All right. So this kind of builds on one of those mistakes that we were chatting about earlier, and it's making sure that your website has the content it needs to be appealing to the people who are coming to your website. Yeah, when people come to your website, they have a problem and they're looking for you to solve that. And it's emotions. So much of websites, so much of selling is emotional. So when people are coming to your website, what are the pain points that they're feeling? It's a really good idea to take some time and think about your different buyer personas, your different demographics, and just list out the like, what are the pain points that these people are feeling, and make sure that you address that on the website. Because if you don't address that, people are not going to feel heard, and if they don't feel heard, then you're really not going to be building any kind of trust with them. And if you're not building the trust, then why would anybody pick up the phone if there's no trust there? So so really take a good look at your content and make sure that it's really meeting the needs of your users. And again, especially before you pay for any kind of traffic. So it can be really hard though for business owners, myself included, for my own website, to know, like, how do you know if you're really knocking it out of the park for your users? And you can do this. You can do it in a couple of ways. You can have people come to the website and ask people who are going to be honest. Don't ask your mom or your family, who might be like, oh dear, it's so lovely. Like, which is what my mother would do. Ask people who are going to give you really good feedback. Did it make sense? Was it clear? Things like that. And you can also hire a firm as well. Even if it costs you a couple $100 to have somebody come in who's got an eye, who's been doing this for a long time, to look at your website and give you some tips. And sometimes it can be a little bit hard to hear that sometimes, especially if you built the website yourself. But you want to find that out before you invest that money, or invest even 5 years of time, right? Like, just get the kinks ironed out and move forward, knowing that you're feeling confident that your website's going to do what you need it to do. All right, this is one that I think, I don't know, I'm not sure, as business owners, as website owners, at the end of the day, we all know that the buck stops with us for everything. But I think when we hire people, sometimes we're like, okay, I've hired this person to do this, and the buck stops with them. But the caliber of your website, and you can look at this two ways: the technical aspects of it, and the performance aspect. Is it converting? Is it, how is it looking? Content and things like that. The caliber of both of these really, at the end of the day, stops with you. The buck stops with you for that. So you really have to be on top of your website. And if you've hired an employee, or you've hired a firm to manage things for you, you really have to be on top of it and make sure that what they've done is in your best interest. It's so hard for consumers. I feel for you, because it's hard. It can be so hard to know everything. And you hire an employee who says that they can do XYZ, and sometimes employees they want you to be pleased with the work that they've done, or they want to make you happy, but they maybe don't have this quite have the skills that they said they did, or you're in a volunteer type situation where you're running a nonprofit, and you've got, somebody's volunteering, I can do the website, but and sometimes it works out really well, but there's a lot of really well-intentioned people out there who legitimately want to be helpful and make people happy, but you can invest a lot of money in a website, and you can have a very well-intentioned employee or volunteer tear that down pretty quick and cause a lot of problems. So again, if you were going to chat with a firm about, what can I do to improve my website, it's also good to ask them, what kind of skill sets do I need to maintain this website? So when you look at your employees, or when you're looking at hiring somebody, then you know what questions to ask for what skills. Yeah, the technical maintenance is something that you can outsource. And that's what our website care plans are. I've got a variety of clients who they do not want to touch the back end of their website ever. And so now they pay me for monthly maintenance, and now the buck stops with me. So the buck stops with me for the technical aspects, but in terms of the front end, the buck still stops with them. So you can kind of outsource half of that, but at the end of the day, the buck still does stop with you. All right. This is a super important one as well. I guess all these tips are quite important. When you have a website and you are, you're making your updates, you're adding new products, whatever you're doing, don't forget to review the site on mobile devices. This happens so often, and as an industry, as a society, I guess, but as users, we're still getting used to that responsive, the mobile friendly website. So when people are editing their websites, very often they're doing it on a desktop computer. So they go into the website, they make their changes, and they hit save, they go to the site, they look at it, it looks great, they shut everything down and go on with their day. But you really need to be testing that in phone sizes and tablet sizes. And very, very often it can be surprising what the results are. So it's so important to make sure that you are testing them in your website in those devices. Now, you might not have all of those devices. As we know, there are a million types of tablets, there's a million types of phones and things like that. And it's physically impossible to own every single device, obviously, right? So there are different tools that you can use. I've got a screenshot of a browser that I use, which is called Responsibly, and you can see how it shows different size screens on there, and you can pick the devices. I don't know if you can see, it says like iPhone X, Pixel 2, iPad, generic laptop. So there's a list of devices that you can go in there, but I don't know so much if the type of device is really relevant, but it's really, you want to be seeing a variety of screen sizes there. So and it's just amazing what the difference is between some of them. So so just make sure that you're taking a look at that. All right, tips to try today. So next time you take a look at your website, see how many calls to action that you've got. Donald Miller, a gentleman who we'll talk about in a moment, who's the founder of the Story Brand Method, they call these cash registers. And so he's like, you put cash registers all over your website. So a call to action is essentially a link or a button that has some instructions where you're kind of prodding people in a particular direction. And so this is a screenshot out of the banner of my website, and my homepage and my service pages, hopefully, are full of these calls to action. So people read a little bit, give them that opportunity. They might be ready to make a call, they might not be. So in my calls to action here, I've got schedule a consult, or how do we do it? I'm just giving people little directions of places that they can go, and they might not. They might want to keep reading further, and that's totally fine. And the next paragraph, same thing. There's going to be a call to action there as well. So anytime there's an end of a section, just give people the next place that you want them to go. Studies have shown that the calls to action are quite useful. And I don't know any of those studies off the top of my head, but I'm sure if you Googled that, you'd see some numbers on that. And it also creates a little bit of urgency as well, and which never hurts. So add more calls to action, up in the top corner of your website. Maybe have schedule an appointment, or call us, or whatever that call to action is that you want. take a look at the imagery that you're using on your website. Tip number 2, review your imagery. There is so much terrible stock photography out there, and so it's really good to review your website to make sure you've got really good imagery on there, because you get into some of these cliche photos and it's not compelling. It's not compelling at all. And for me, I guess I'm a bit of a designer, so I'm quite picky about certain things, but there's so many of these conceptual type photos, the hands in the circle, the chains breaking, somebody running up a mountain and things like that. I can see how you get there, right? Like it's literally describing what it is that you're talking about in that moment. But the reality is you don't really need to be a photo of what you're talking about in the moment. You really want a photo of the end result. So if you are, a family therapy practice, you really don't want a photo of, like a sulky family sitting on a couch. You would want a picture of a happy family, in the park, enjoying life together and things like that. So, just, avoid the cliches, and you can definitely take your own photos for sure. Just make sure that they're crisp and clean and they're composed well. And please do not use clip art, which we've all seen in Microsoft Word. It's going to clash with your brand, and it's not going to do anything for anybody. It's really going to detract from your credibility, I would think. There are some really great places where you can get stock imagery. iStockPhoto.com, I think. iStock is a really good one. Shutterstock is not bad. And you can get photos for, $40-50, which is really good, because 15 years ago you were looking at $350-400 for a tiny little image. So when you can buy 10 images for that amount of money, that's money well spent as far as I'm concerned. Pexels, PEXELS.com is a website where you can get free images, as is unsplash.com, I think. And those are, you can literally use those images off that site for free. Read the licensing, of course, but just to double check that. But that's a place to get decent imagery. But I highly recommend iStock. It's a great place. The third tip I would say is to really look at the content on your homepage and all of your pages, but specifically your homepage and your major product and service pages, and make sure that everything is very clear. People don't visit websites for fun. Nobody's coming to my website for fun. Nobody's sitting down on Friday night and learning about websites. I find it fascinating, but nobody's doing that. Nobody's surfing roofing companies, for fun. And so for most of our businesses, people aren't. This isn't recreational. Somebody's coming to your website because they've got a problem and they need you to solve it. And they need you only get like 3 to 5 seconds to really capture people's attention. And so if I'm looking for a roof and I go to a website, and in the banner image they're talking about 3 generations of roofers, and I'm not interested in that. I'm not ready for that information. What I want to know is you can solve my problem, which is a roof that doesn't leak. So what they need to be saying in that banner is talking about, and I can't make this stuff up on the fly, but like quality roofing with guarantees and things like that. When keeping my house dry. When I see that, I know, yes, this is where I need to be. These guys can solve my problem. And now they've bought another 10 seconds of my attention. So, what's next on that homepage is very important. So, I read a little bit more, and if that resonates with me, then yes, okay, now I'm ready to learn more about the history of the business. Just write in the banner, just be so clear and concise with what you're doing. I'm running a little bit low on time here, so I'm going to speed through. I apologize, but go to YouTube and do a search for Donald Miller and StoryBrand, and he explains this is StoryBrand to a T. Just be super clear about what you're writing, and give Donald Miller a Google. He explains it very well. Okay, so I have like 33 people applied for the live analysis. So thank you so much for that. I was completely blown away. I'm so grateful for so many people to throw their hat in the ring here. And I just randomly picked 5 people, and hopefully I can squeeze this in the next few minutes here. So I'm going to start with, oh my goodness, where did it go? It was Little Pine. I think that was it. Okay, this was yeah. Okay, so
Kris, can you make the screen a bit bigger so we can?
Oh, yeah. Okay,
you.
so I should mention that I'm on a really massive screen right now. So if your site this is not a typical sized screen, so everybody's site's going to look a little bit stretched out here. Right now, this would be more of a typical standard screen, but so it might not look like this for everybody. Okay, so this this was a really great site. One of the first things I noticed is the newsletter pops up. I think, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds in, and I would say to not do that quite so quickly. I would say maybe 30 seconds or a little bit longer. This is like somebody coming into your store and you jump on the door and with a clipboard and say, sign up for my newsletter. And it can be a little bit off-putting. You haven't necessarily built any kind of trust or anything with anybody. You haven't really people haven't had a chance to be compelled by the website yet, and you're asking them for personal information. So maybe just offset that by a little bit more time. This site is very clean. Like it's a very good looking site, but it wasn't immediately obvious to me what it was. So I had to scroll down to eventually I saw what it was. I would maybe put in the logo here, handcrafted. Oh, I'm terrible at doing this on the fly, like handcrafted pet products, or I'm sure you'll come up with something better than that. And people know immediately, just from your logo, what you're doing. And also too, this text was a little bit hard to read, and I would you had some text in here that was really good. I would say pet products made from upcycled items from the climbing industry, and then people know, bang, like right there, we know what we're looking at. I just made some notes off to the side here, and I can't read my own handwriting. The colors of this site were really lovely, like very, very pleasing. The menu, I found the menu to be very, it's quite busy. So much of this could be spread elsewhere, like partners, privacy, shipping policy, terms of service. People expect to see that stuff down in the footer. So I don't think I'd be cluttering up the main menu with that, and that will just kind of tidy up some of this. Yeah, and the font size is a little bit small, so I'm not entirely sure what your demographic is, but it's a little bit on the small side. You might want to go up a few more points, but this was a really lovely. Like the photography is beautiful. This was a really great site. You've got great images with product shots and things like that. Like you definitely get a good feel on this website. Yeah. Oh yeah. Look, you've got a ton of links down in the bottom here too, right? So you can clean up that menu and get a lot of that out there. And that's And in doing that, you're going to have people really focus on the pages, excuse me, that you really want people to go to. Okay. Susan Isaac. The problem with these e-commerce websites, I get sucked in and I end up shopping. Susan, you have a really great site here. Your work is spectacular. I really enjoyed spending a bit of time on your website. So a lot of really positive things on your site. And there's a lot of really positive things on everybody's website. And I don't want to come across like I'm tearing anything down, because there's so many really good things. There's just a few tweaks that everybody can do. Even on my own website, there's tweaks that I could be doing for sure. So Susan, the first thing I would do is I would shrink this logo way down. The reality is when people come to a website, they don't care about your logo. It's really none of it. I mean, unless there's like brand identity. I mean, even look at Nike, you know, like their logo is tiny. And obviously there's a difference between Nike and all of us. But people aren't here. No purchase decision is being made on logos. I don't think, or very few. I would shrink this way down, and you might, so far down that you might want to get rid of the coloring behind it, because it's quite a large logo. So you might want to shrink that down, and that's going to cinch up. You're going to get so much more text above the fold. Again, this is a very stretched out monitor. So if we're looking at, you know, look how much more content you can get up there if you shrink that down. This 20% off, I would recommend doing something like what Little Pine has done and put just a discrete banner at the top there, and that frees up another ton of space. Am I on the homepage here? Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of, I think I would be getting products up here pretty close to the top. I love what you've got here. This says very clearly what you're doing. I would make this text bigger, honestly. It would be nice to have a big banner image with maybe like a real close up on one of the pieces. Maybe the focal point is here, and then you've got text running over the image here, like this text running over the image. I think that would be so much more impactful than you know, kind of just a plain color bar. And yeah, and I didn't get a chance to, you know, to fully read all of these sites, and but you know, and then getting into some of your text here. So the blog is great. It'd be awesome if you could have an image on these as well. And I would limit maybe the homepage to just having 3 of them, because this is probably going to add to your load time as well. And then a link, you know, if you want to read the rest of the blog articles, then click here. Yeah. So a lot of really great things on this website. Oh, there's Little Pine. Accessibility Services Canada. Now, this is a really great website. Excuse me. I wasn't able to do an accessibility test on this website, but I would imagine website accessibility is it's becoming a very hot topic, in that websites have to be accessible by people with screen readers. And there's a test that like a website checker that you can go to here, and I'm gonna pop this in the chat here, and you can run your website through it to see what kind of errors and things like that you need to fix up. This in Ontario, this website accessibility is a law, and you can get fined, and it doesn't seem to be a law in BC yet, but it's a coming. And so I would imagine that this site is very much optimized for accessibility. But I would say you might want to throw some more images in here. Unless your newsletter, like if you're getting people signing up all day long up here, then leave this up here. But if you're not, I would take it out, because you've got it down at the bottom here as well, right? So yeah, I think that would just clean up the header a little bit. You've got there's tons of amazing content on this website, and you've done a pretty good job of organizing it. I think I would just try and clean, I would try to make the page pop a little bit more with breaking some of these into sections and using some bold color bars to run behind. And if you use the right, the right amount of contrast, you're not violating that website accessibility. And yeah, I just try to get more images in there. And you've got a little short code showing there, and you might want to give that a quick look at. But other than that, like, amazing content. You got really a lot of really good aspects to this site. I'm sorry, I'm at 11 o'clock. I haven't done any questions yet. I hope everybody's got a couple more minutes. I've just got 2 more here to go through, and I'll spin through them super quick. Mosaic Earth. This was a really interesting website, and again, I get sucked into what you guys are doing. This banner image, as you can see, depending on the screen size, depends on what people are seeing, right? And I would maybe try and control that a little bit more, because when you're on a full desktop, this image is really losing a lot of its impact, because you're not really seeing the whole image. So I would take the parallax out of this, and have a better image, or image that fits in there perfectly. And then if you want to use that parallax, then you can, the parallax is when the image moves behind as the screen scrolls. You can kind of see that it's moving there. And then maybe add that to a different row further down. The logo is really great, but you want to shrink it down a little bit, maybe by 20% maybe, and get this so it's all sitting up in the bar. You might have to make it a little bit lower. What's interesting about this site is you guys do tourism within British Columbia here, but the site is a little bit bland. And I was wondering if you could pop it up a little bit by implementing more imagery. And this is that iStock that I was telling you about. There's so many really amazing photos of British Columbia that just suck people in. I could sit and look at these images all day long. And I think that this would be, if you can add these, like running behind a section, and maybe have it, kind of, with a color over top of it, partially transparent. I think that could add a lot of richness to the website. And also too, the site could probably benefit from a download. Like, you could do a quiz, like a test, which vacation is best for me, and that that pops up with a like a thing, like a little pop-up or whatever. But yeah, really great site, super amazing products, very exciting. And All Care Nursing. This was one of the first sites that I looked at, and but I saved you for the end. This looks like a really great business, a lot of really good aspects on this site. I would challenge you to take competent out of your logo and change it to excellence. Because I can see how you get there with the competent, but really maybe excellence is a better word for that. And I would also swap this image out with something a little bit more, I'm not sure, the imagery for you is a little bit tough, because you don't want to be having a full website of patient images, and you do want to use those quite sparingly. So this would be one of the few times I would be recommending more nature shots, more local shots, and things like that. And I think I would rearrange the content a little bit. I would get your services up and then your values below that, because it's you say some really good things, but let's talk about what you're doing and who you're doing it for first, and then people have the context for the site. I think I would try and get rid of this topographical imagery, because it looks nice, but it doesn't quite fit the site. And there's a couple little things, like you might want to reduce the font size and things like that. So yeah, this looks like a really great business doing a lot of really worthy work. Yeah, so hopefully oh, the other thing I would mention is get your phone number up in the banner there for sure. And yeah, and maybe even a phone number, and then a schedule link. If you go to my website, hpxmedia.com, you'll see that I've got a schedule link, and that just goes to a Calendly account that I've got. So it pops up a calendar, and people can see what's available in your calendar. They can't see what's what you're doing and just showing the available spots. And people can just make an appointment right in your calendar. Super handy. Okay, so that's it. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much, Kris. I found your presentation so engaging, and it's really wonderful to see those live examples. And I do recognize that we're already 6 minutes over time.
I'm so sorry.
No, you know what? It's such great content. And so we've got some questions that I want to get to before we wrap up. Again, this session is being recorded, so anyone who needs to go, thank you for sticking around this long, and we'll follow up with these resources. The first question I have is, we're going back to the 66% of traffic that gets cut out. So the question is, does an FAQ page make sense to educate people and not cut out that traffic?
Yeah, absolutely. That is a great thing to add. Absolutely. And it also helps with your search results too, right? Because you're adding more words to the page. FAQs is definitely really good. And I would almost say to have that information twice. Like if I'm shopping for a roof, and that a lot of your clients have been burnt before, and that's a concern that they're going to have, then on that homepage somewhere near the top, it would be great to talk about warranties and things like that. And yeah, like having FAQs even on the product specific pages, I think that would be good. But I don't think I would rely on just having it. You need to get that information like right in front of people's eyes, so they take those 5 seconds, and then that turns into the 15 seconds, and then it goes on and on.
Great, thanks, Kris. Another question from Rebecca. She says, what about when clients need to go to your site to book appointments? What are the best ways to get them to do more?
Yeah, do more as in like book an appointment and then stay on the site, or I guess the book an appointment is one of those call to actions, so you can get that like at the top right corner, and have that peppered throughout the site. But also just make sure your website has a lot of really good content on it, so even after they book that appointment, they might want to go back and read your blog articles. If that again, I'm stuck on the roofing example, but I'm shopping for a roof and I've made that appointment, I might want to go back and do a little bit more research if they've got more articles on there. So I hope that answers the question.
Great. Yeah. And I think the important point is what is more to you? So they go to the website, what is doing more? So really getting back to what Kris was saying at the beginning is, what are your goals?
Yeah.
2 more questions. We'll fly through as fast as possible.
Sure, I'll try and be quick.
Okay. What are the price ranges for website development?
Oh yeah, that is such a good question, and it's so hard to answer, and you're going to be very unsatisfied with my answer. It varies obviously. Going back to those examples of I'm knitting mittens and I just want to if I sell them I don't, or if I don't, it doesn't matter. Like you can get into something very, very entry level, and it depends on who you hire as well. I've provided a handout that you guys should all get a copy of, and I go into that a little bit more there. What can you expect? You can spend anywhere from free, because you're doing it yourself, all the way up to $25,000, $50,000 on a website, and you're getting into some complex websites, obviously. For a lot of firms about my size, you're really and you're getting a good quality website, you can look anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000, depending on if you go template or custom or whatever. So hopefully that's helpful.
Wonderful. Okay, let's do one more question. I know they're still flying through, but Vicky's wondering about embedding videos and talking about how it takes a long time for the video to load. Is there a better way to do that?
Yeah, I guess it depends on where the video is being hosted, I would say would play a big role in that. So if it's hosted with YouTube, it should be quite quick. If you're just hosting it on your own website hosting space, that could be a problem. And if you're doing that, I would recommend not doing that. And your host will thank you. And your site should move a bit quicker. If you do have the video right on your site, just host it on Vimeo or YouTube or something like that. But in terms of if you are hosting it on YouTube or Vimeo or something like that, and it's still slow, I would say there's something funny in the communication between the website and that seems like it might be a bit more of a technical problem if you're already hosting it at YouTube, because it's streaming right off YouTube, so it should be it's coming off their server, so it should be quite quick.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that's kind of a helpful, not a helpful answer.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So I think we'll leave it there. We're going to follow up with some details to connect with Kris. On her slide, she has her coaching spaces available, which is amazing. Did you want to speak to that for a moment, Kris?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like I've taken up so much of everybody's time already. I do have three coaching spaces available if for this year anyway. If there's more information on the website, if anybody's interested in that. And if you are interested in getting your site reviewed, and I wasn't the thing, what I did today was really quite quick and just a very quick snapshot. This is a service that I do offer, and I give a report after, and obviously I take more than 5 minutes to look at the website, and so if that's something that's of interest, just pop your name in the chat, and I'll collect that after the fact and reach out to you to set that up. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. It's unfortunate that I can't get a chance to meet you all, because it's always so neat learning about people's business. But thank you so much for spending this hour with me, and to WeBC for letting me chat with you guys. So it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Kris. I learned so much today, and I think I can speak for everyone else on the line. You have been so open and just a real source of knowledge. So thank you. Raise my hands to you. Thank you for supporting women entrepreneurs in BC. Thank you to all the women on the line. And your next step, how to get more information and more support through WeBC. On the screen, you can see one of our upcoming web cafes, all about mentoring made easy. We have mentoring programs available there. If you subscribe to our e-news and e-blast, you will know when our mentoring programs are available. So definitely check out webc.ca/stay in the loop, and you can subscribe to our newsletter to find out what is upcoming. We want to know how we did today. We are really interested in getting your feedback. Please take a moment to fill out the poll. Thank you, Netta. I saw that just pop up. Please share how we did. And we will also be providing a $50 Visa gift card. We'll be putting your name in a draw. So please put that info in there. And Netta is going to pop in the chat this survey. Excellent. So we've come to the end of our session. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to hosting you again on one of our webinars. Special thank you to Kris Trudeau. You have been absolutely fantastic, and we really appreciate your time and generosity today. So thank you all for being here.
Thanks so much. Have a great day, everybody.